Welcome to About Mansfield. It's your audio newspaper. I'm Steve Casillo, broadcasting from the Somark Studios, along with Colleen Daniel. She's out there in Studio West. This is the January 8th, 2025, 253rd edition. Coming up, we will get you up to date on what's been going on around town while we were away for 2 weeks with Mansfield news, talk, and information.
And a little later in the episode, you will have a chance to win a $25 gift card to a Mansfield restaurant of your choice with our Mansfield trivia question, courtesy of Joe Jenkins Insurance.
Let's take a look at the stories we're covering this week.
The frigid weather among us could bring snow.
Utility company offers energy saving tips.
City wants to know how you really feel.
Couple rings in the new year with a new baby.
Police officer retires after 2 decades of service.
Mansfield Cares prepares to take you to Havana. And in sports, Lake Ridge and Summit are rocking the basketball court.
And in the talk segment, Steve talks with Texas Health Hospital's CEO, Eulanie Lashley. We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. This is About Mansfield.
Hey there, it's Luke from Cool Hand Electric. Are you tired of dealing with plugs or lights that just won't cooperate? Well, don't fret. Give us a call. Worried about power outages or surges damaging your precious electronics? We've got you covered. Whether it's a whole house generator or surge protection, our solution-oriented Cool Hands are ready to tailor the perfect option that suits your needs and budget. At Cool Hand Electric, excellence is still cool.
Cool Hand, Cool Hand, Cool Hand, where excellence is still cool.
Navigating the ever-changing real estate market can be exhausting. At the Hornburg Real Estate Group at One West, our team of experts help make the most of your home selling goals. From the ability to bring buyers multiple cash offers, offer different ways to sell your home, and even offer pay-at-close vendors, we help you get top dollar. We have a robust marketing strategy to ensure you always have options to get your home sold in the way that makes the most sense for you. Each agent at the Hornburg Real Estate Group has been expertly trained and has years of experience behind them. Find out why our clients consistently rate us 5 stars year after year. Call or text us at 817-264-7087. Again, that's 817-264-7087. Or visit us online at homesbyhrg.com.
Hi, I'm Vandella Menifee, professional volunteer. You're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to About Mansfield. This portion of the news is brought to you by the Grandview Event Center in Mansfield.
Unless you haven't gone outside over the past few days, you've probably noticed that it's really cold outside. Our first winter blast hit Mansfield Sunday night, dropping temps into the 20s overnight into Monday. But the big news of the blast doesn't happen until Thursday morning and for the next day and a half after that. The National Weather Service is watching a potential winter storm that carries a 95% chance of snow, 5 to 8 inches of snow. High temperatures will be back into the 40s again on Saturday and will warm up into the 50s by Tuesday of next week. The extended forecast predicts that we will not see 60 degrees again until mid-February. In the meantime, don't forget to take care of the 4 Ps in and around your home: people, pets, pipes, and plants.
With the extreme winter temperatures among us, Atmos Energy has offered some tips to help you stay safe while conserving energy, such as you can lower your thermostat to 68 degrees during the day and 58 degrees when everyone is away from the home. Lower your water heater temperature to 120 degrees. Use caulk or weather stripping to seal gaps around windows, doors, and vents, and set your ceiling fan to rotate clockwise to push the warm air down. There are many, many more tips on this list, and to see the complete list, visit our website, aboutmansfield.com, and click on the links tab.
The City of Mansfield wants to know how you really feel. The city is inviting residents to participate in a community survey aimed at gathering feedback on local programs and services. Input from the survey will guide improvements to existing offerings and inform long-term planning and investment decisions. Results from previous surveys have already influenced key initiatives. Based on the feedback from the 2020 and 2022 community satisfaction surveys, the City Council increased street funding by 53% over the past 4 years and prioritized new entertainment and retail projects requested by residents. In addition, construction has begun on a new animal care and control facility, and the 2025 budget includes funding for 13 new police and fire positions to enhance public safety. City officials emphasize the importance of resident input as they prepare to make decisions impacting a range of programs and services in the coming months. Residents are encouraged to take part in the survey to ensure their voices are heard. You can take the survey online at mansfieldsurvey.org.
And you know, Colleen, while many of us were glued to the TV on New Year's Eve waiting for the ball to drop on Times Square, would-be parents Haley Guerra and Rayvon Robinson had other ideas, specifically the birth of their daughter. Born at 2:46 a.m. on January 1st, Aliyah Kaylani Robinson was the first baby of the new year to be born at Methodist Mansfield Medical Center. The baby weighed 7 pounds, 2 ounces, and measured just over 20 inches long. Parents Haley and Rayvon were thrilled to welcome their first child. The delivery was overseen by Dr. Angeline Jackson. As part of the hospital's Read to Me program, the new mother received a gift basket and a children's book to encourage early literacy.
Mansfield police officer Scott Reinhardt was recognized on Thursday as he retired after more than 22 years of service. Reinhardt played a key role in developing the department's mental health program aimed at providing support to individuals and families during mental health crises. His efforts have been credited with shaping the community's approach to such emergencies and creating a more compassionate response system. The City of Mansfield expressed gratitude for Officer Reinhardt's contributions, highlighting his impact on public safety and community well-being. Residents and colleagues acknowledged his legacy as he begins his retirement.
Mansfield Cares has announced its 25th anniversary charity ball. It's titled Havana Nights, and it's set for March 1st, 2025 at the Walnut Creek Country Club. The evening begins at 7 p.m. and will feature entertainment, dinner, dancing, games, auctions, and a best dress competition inspired by 1950s Havana. Proceeds will support community programs such as food assistance for over 4,000 Mansfield ISD students, Angel Tree food vouchers, the Shoes for Kids initiative, and scholarships for graduating seniors, as well as funding for other local charities. Sponsorship opportunities, many of which include reserved seating, are available, though space is limited. The organization is also seeking donations for its live and silent auctions, including gift cards, electronics, and themed baskets. Community members are encouraged to participate in this annual tradition, which combines fun with support for vital local initiatives. Tickets, as well as more details on sponsorships, or to be more involved, visit mansfieldcares.org. Hoops, hoops, and more hoops. We'll talk about it because sports is next.
Are you ready to create unforgettable memories? Picture this: an enchanting event venue nestled amidst breathtaking landscapes with panoramic views right here in Mansfield. The Grandview Event Center is the perfect setting to bring your vision to life. From intimate gatherings to large-scale extravaganzas, the Grandview has flexible spaces to accommodate any occasion, be it a wedding reception, corporate Christmas party, or community gathering. Book your next unforgettable experience at thegrandviewmansfield.com. That's thegrandviewmansfield.com. The Grandview Event Center, where memories are made and dreams become reality. Book your event today.
Hey, it's Steve Casillo, and are you ready to make your voice heard? Want to bring out your ideas to life through captivating conversations and engaging visuals? Look no further than Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio, your one-stop destination for award-winning audio and video podcast recording. Equipped with cutting-edge microphones, crystal clear audio recording, and high-definition cameras, we're here to turn your ideas into engrossing content. But it's not just about the equipment. We're dedicated to bringing out the best in your content. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, we're here to elevate your podcasting game. We'll even help you with intro music, transitions, voiceover, and that professional polish that sets your podcast apart. So whether you're into interviews, storytelling, or simply sharing your expertise, Podcast Mansfield can help bring your podcasting dreams to life. Visit podcastmansfield.com. Podcast Mansfield, where creating your podcast masterpiece has never been easier.
At Methodist Mansfield Medical Center, we've been caring for our home team for over 15 years. Today, you'll find award-winning physicians on the medical staff, advanced neurosurgery, a level 3 trauma center, critical care for newborns, and comprehensive orthopedic care. Methodist Mansfield, delivering the care our friends, neighbors, and home team depend on. That's community, and why so many people trust Methodist.
In sports, 2 Mansfield ISD boys basketball teams made national news last week as Lakeridge and Summit made Sports Illustrated's top 25 Texas basketball teams. Ranked at number 4, the sports magazine wrote, Lakeridge's only losses have come to number 12, Lancaster, and number 2, Allen. The Eagles are winning by an average of 16.9 points per game. 6'8" senior Eze Nwakama is averaging 15.8 points on 58% shooting to go with 8.6 rebounds per game. Seniors Abiseo Bakenro and Shakir Pak, I know I blew those names, are also dynamic, versatile talents. And as of this recording, the Eagles are 22-2. Also making SI news and ranked at number 13, Summit is another team that has scheduled competitively through its non-district campaign. The Jaguars have minimal losses up to this point with a 16-6 record, having nail-biter matches with number 4 ranked Lakeridge, 50-49, number 3 Fort Bend Marshall, 43-48, and twice by number 15 ranked Denton Guyer, 50-48 and 54-50, all very close games. Defense has been Summit's calling card early this season. The Jaguars are giving up only 47.2 points per game. Both Lakeridge and Summit are undefeated in district play. Games coming up this Friday include Summit travels to Timberview, Legacy at Crowley, Lakeridge at Weatherford, and your Mansfield Tigers have the night off. Over on the girls' side of the court, the Summit Lady Jags are showing their opponents who's boss, currently with a 17-4 record and undefeated in district play. One of the biggest wins of the season came over the winter break as the girls routed Harker Heights 70-36. All 5 girls' team play the same exact schedule as the boys, so hit your rewind button to hear where the girls are playing this Friday night. If you have a comment about the show, the news, whatever's on your mind locally, the good, the bad, the ugly, doesn't matter, you can reach us by voicemail at 817-435-2938. Think of it as your audio letter to the editor. That voicemail again, 817-435-2938. This coming Saturday, January 11th, is National Clean Off Your Desk Day, celebrated on the second Monday of January every year. And it's basically New Year's resolutions for your workspace, except this one might actually stick for more than a week. It's the day we all collectively admit that our desks look like a paper factory exploded and make an attempt to tame the chaos. Think of it as Marie Kondo meets office supplies. That mystery pile of papers, gone. Those 17 pens that don't work, out of here. Those snack wrappers you've been hoarding like a squirrel, time to let it go. If you discover something that you thought was lost forever, perhaps like a stapler or your will to work, you're doing it right. It's your chance to reset, refresh, and maybe even find your keyboard underneath all that clutter. You get bonus points if your coworkers don't ask, "Hey man, are you moving out?" when they see your clean desk. So grab a trash bag, some Lysol, and a sense of humor, and conquer the chaos.
Coming up after the break, we turn the page to the features section.
Tourism manager Tim Roberts joins us with the cultural arts calendar.
Today we have a special guest, Dr. Al, a trauma surgeon on staff at Methodist Mansfield Medical Center.
Have you ever thought about investing in real estate? I'm Angela Hornburg, and we'll talk about how to get started in the Mansfield Real Estate Update.
In this week's Cocktail of the Week, we're blending your morning wellness routine with your evening sophistication.
We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. I'm Colleen Daniel, and this is About Mansfield.
This portion of the news was brought to you by the Grandview Event Center in Mansfield.
Hey there, it's Luke from Cool Hand Electric. Are you tired of dealing with plugs or lights that just won't cooperate? Well, don't fret. Give us a call. Worried about power outages or surges damaging your precious electronics? We've got you covered. Whether it's a whole house generator or surge protection, our solution-oriented Cool Hands are ready to tailor the perfect option that suits your needs and budget. At Cool Hand Electric, excellence is still cool.
Cool hand, cool hand, cool hand, where excellence is still cool.
Congratulations to Greg Waits, who was the first to wish the entire About Mansfield news team a Merry Christmas. Yep, it was that easy. When we come back, this week's trivia question. I'm Colleen Daniel, and this is About Mansfield.
Hi, this is Joe Jenkins with Joe Jenkins Farmers Insurance, specializing in auto, home, commercial, and life insurance. I was born and raised here in Mansfield, Texas. We're active in the community, and Mansfield's a town we really care about. Our office has over 30 years' experience in the insurance industry, and we're passionate about what we do and about customer service. For a free quote, please visit our website at joejenkinsinsurance.com or give us a call at 817-472-6058. Once again, that website is joejenkinsinsurance.com.
It is time right now for the highly coveted, wildly popular About Mansfield trivia question. If you are the first person to email the correct answer to trivia@aboutmansfield.com, you will receive a $25 gift card to a Mansfield restaurant of your choice. It's brought to you by Joe Jenkins Insurance. Whether you're looking for homeowners, auto, commercial, or any other type of insurance, Joe has helped Mansfield area residents understand the insurance coverage that best fit their needs since 2010. You can find him on the internet at joejenkinsinsurance.com. I've mentioned it before. I'll mention it again. Not everyone wins on a Wednesday. So if you're listening on Thursday, Friday, or whenever, give it a shot. You may be taking home a $25 restaurant gift card. Colleen, what's up?
Well, Steve, for nearly 150 years, Mansfield, Ohio was the most populated city among 26 places named Mansfield in the United States. But Mansfield, Texas had a growth spurt and took over as the most populated. Here's a multiple-choice trivia question. In which decade, according to the Census Bureau, did Mansfield, Texas become the most populated city named Mansfield in the nation? Was it the 1970s, the 1990s, or the 2010s? Email your answer to trivia@aboutmansfield.com. Again, in which decade did Mansfield, Texas become the most populated city named Mansfield in the U.S.? Was it the 1970s, the 1990s, or the 2010s? Good luck, and thanks to Joe Jenkins Insurance for the gift card.
Hi, I'm James Sellers, CEO and founder of Sawmore Corporation, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to About Mansfield, your audio newspaper. Let's open up the features section.
Well, as you know, it's the first episode of the month, and what happens on the first episode of the month? We bring in the tourism manager for the city of Mansfield. That would be Tim Roberts, to talk about the cultural arts calendar. Tim, welcome back.
Welcome back. First episode of the month, first of the year. We're a brand new year. Got that 2-5 at the end now.
There you go.
If I still sign checks, I imagine that would confuse me. But luckily, it's all digital these days.
The big question of the week, how are you staying warm?
I just put on a jacket and enjoy it. I think I mentioned when we talked about a month or so ago about it, I grew up in the former Soviet Union, so my blood was made for this kind of weather right here.
And people are talking about on Facebook, they're sharing what they've been making, whether it's chili or stew, or we make a Mexican dish called a caldo, which is basically a soup. Anything going on in the Roberts household?
Nothing all that fancy. I'm actually on my beginning of the year 21-day fast, so I'm not eating much of anything. So I'm cold and hungry and loving it.
There you go. Let's get into the cultural arts calendar, and because it is January, or because we are making this segue from a very busy December, not a whole lot going on, but there is something going on, and let's start with the first one on the list.
Yeah, open mic night, January 9th. We got just enough this month to try to chase off January, as folks call it. We got a little bit going on, open mic night. And, speaking of January, one of your New Year's resolutions is to practice your art more or just show more confidence, get out there. There is no better place than the Far Best Theater on the first Thursday night of the month, or second Thursday night of the month. This one will be January 9th at 7:30 p.m. Doors open at 7. You can register, get your tickets at the door.
And you don't have to be a musician if you want to. If you want to get up there and just read a poem.
We've had poems, we've had little one-act shows. And if you want to just try anything, if you want to get up there and just put on an old vaudeville act, we would love to see it.
I'm thinking it would be a great way for someone to lose stage fright or someone who wants to practice public speaking.
Exactly. Yeah. It is such a welcoming environment. There will be no booze from the gallery in the Far Best Theater.
January 11th, and then he's coming back again February 1st. We're talking more magic.
Yeah, Will Baffle. He kicks off his series of monthly shows. January 11th, moving to Saturday nights. Used to be Sunday afternoons. That'll be Saturday nights at 7 p.m.
Oh, he's got the premiere. He's prime time.
Prime time. Doesn't have to go against college football anymore, I guess. So it's a good spot for him to be. And then he'll also be there February 1st, which will be after our February episode. So get that out there. Again, just a nice family evening of magic. He's a top of the line magician.
Awesome.
I like to think of him as our resident magician now at the Far Best Theater. You know he's going to be there every month, so come out and check him out.
And then we move on to the next week, and this one is not at the Far Best Theater.
Yeah, this will be our pocket sketching workshop. It's something we've had going on a lot more. It's a special class where you learn how to sketch on the go. This was in the Far Best Theater last year, but as we move into a new year, it'll have a new location in the future. It's not quite ready yet. So this time, January 18th at 10 a.m., it'll be at the Shelley Landers Administration Building. That's the Parks Admin Building over at 1164 Matlock Road. If you want to, again, talking about the New Year's resolutions, get more artistic, learn something new, you just come out and you learn how to sketch on the go, basically. It's not a big, broad, super complicated painting class. It's about finding your point of view, finding a thing to sketch, doing it right there, and having a piece of artwork in your hands.
The last item on the list, and this really caught my attention, is Stravinsky is coming to the Far Best Theater.
Yes, the shoulder.
I mean, I don't mean Igor Stravinsky himself, because he's been long gone. But
the best you could hope to approximate with the Mansfield Philharmonic, they'll be performing The Soldier's Tale.
Awesome.
A fascinating musical about a soldier and the devil. That neither of them go down to Georgia, but there's some striking similarities between the two stories, come to think of it.
You think maybe Charlie Daniels
it's
heard?
very possible that the golden fiddle was not a coincidence in his song. So not much banjo in this one, but a lot of beautiful music. That'll be at the Far Best Theater, January 26th at 6 p.m. for just a wonderful night of, the Mansfield Philharmonic. They've become so recognized, article after article getting published about them, all the great work they've done for our community over the past decade, and they're really starting to earn their recognition, and now you can come check them out at the Far Best.
The Soldier's Tale on January 26th. I have put that on my calendar, and this is one of the things I love about doing our little segment here is finding out about what's going on, and I will be at the Far Best Theater on January 26th.
Yep, and we got a lot more going on as well that's not included on this calendar. You can always find at MansfieldTexasArts.org, a film premiere, another little quick play that's popping up for a day or two. So be sure and check out MansfieldTexas.org to get the full calendar.
That, my friends, is the Cultural Arts Calendar. That is Tourism Manager Tim Roberts. Tim, go forth, stay warm, and we'll see you next month.
And stay off the roads if it gets icy. Just everybody do it.
Angel Biasatti has tips about the Level 2 Trauma Center in Methodist Mansfield. News to know. Angel?
Today we have a special guest, Dr. Al, a trauma surgeon on staff at Methodist Mansfield Medical Center. We're thrilled to have him talk about our exciting launch of Level 2 Trauma here at Methodist Mansfield. Welcome, Dr. Al.
Good to be here. Imagine this. A serious accident happens just down the road. In situations like these, minutes matter. That's why I'm thrilled to share that Methodist Mansfield Medical Center is now launching full-service Level 2 trauma care, ready to provide life-saving care when it's needed most. As of September 10th, 2024, Methodist Mansfield will be fully equipped to handle critical injuries right here at home. This means that myself and other trauma surgeons will be available 24/7, ready to act immediately when emergencies strike. For major car accidents to severe falls, we can now treat a wide range of traumatic injuries without the need to transfer patients out of our community.
What does Level 2 trauma care mean for our community, Dr. Al?
In short, it means that Methodist Mansfield Medical Center now has expanded our capabilities to include everything from advanced imaging and emergency surgery to intensive care and rehabilitation, all under one roof. This upgrade in service is a game changer for our community. It means faster care, closer to home. While certain specialized cases like severe burns or organ transplants will still need to go to other facilities, we can handle nearly everything else right here in Mansfield. It's about peace of mind knowing that world-class trauma care is just minutes away. And let's not forget our incredible first responders. Our local EMS teams are the first ones on the scene, providing critical care in those early moments. With Advanced Trauma Care, we're strengthening our partnership with EMS to ensure that patients get the fastest and best possible care from the moment an emergency call is made.
Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Al. At Methodist Mansfield Medical Center, we're committed to serving our community with the highest standards of care. The launch of Advanced Trauma Center is just one more way we're doing that. Stay safe, take care of each other, and know that if the worst happens, we're here for you. And to our listeners, remember, in an emergency, every second counts, and we're here to make sure those seconds save lives. That's Methodist Mansfield News to Know. I'm Angel Biasatti reporting for the About Mansfield podcast.
Angela Hornburg addresses how to get started in investing in real estate in the Mansfield Real Estate Market Update. Angela?
Homeownership is oftentimes the biggest investment Americans make and is largely how most middle-class Americans are able to create wealth and opportunity for their families. Owning a home is also a great way to get into real estate investing. How does owning a home help you get into real estate investing? Great question. Owning a home means that you are gaining money year over year through appreciation. So without having to earn more at your job, the economy is depositing money into a bank account that you cannot access until you sell or refinance your home. If you choose to refinance your home, you can pull cash out of your home's value when you refinance. This is known as a cash out refi. When you pull cash out of your home, you can use that to put down on a new purchase, either for an investment or for a new house, while you keep your current home and turn it into a rental. Another way that you can get started with purchasing an investment home is to choose a home that would be considered a secondary home. Think about a lakefront property or perhaps a property that's near hiking trails or destinations. When you purchase a secondary home, you can purchase it for 10% down. And then when you're not using it, you can rent it out on a short-term basis with programs like Airbnb and VRBO. To purchase an investment property with the full intention of leasing it out from the start, you would be looking to put down 20 to 25% of the purchase price. This is oftentimes what prevents people from purchasing an investment home, but rather they choose to keep their old house and then buy a new one for themselves. Because as an owner-occupant, you can purchase a home with as little as 3.5% to 5% down instead of the 20 to 25% it takes to buy an investment home. Another great way to get into real estate investing is for the first-time home buyers or buyers who do not yet have an FHA loan. You can purchase a full duplex, meaning 2 sides, when you intend to live in one side and rent out the other. The benefit of an FHA loan is that it only requires 3.5% as a down payment. That means you could put down very little money to purchase your new home, rent out one side, which would offset your mortgage payment, and in the future, when you choose to move into a new home, you now have 2 units that can be rented out. This is a life and house hack that I want all people to know about. It's such a great way to get started with investing. Whether you're pulling cash out for a down payment, buying a secondary home, or looking at purchasing multifamily options, I would highly recommend meeting with real estate experts who specialize in investing and are also investors themselves to help guide you with the ins and outs. Reporting for the About Mansfield podcast, I am Angela Hornburg, broker with One West Real Estate.
Shaken or stirred, you know it's going to be good as Brian Certain serves up a drink that mixes your morning routine with your evening sophistication in the cocktail of the week. Brian.
Welcome to the About Mansfield Cocktail of the Week 2025. I'm your favorite master mixologist and senior pastor of Bourbon Gospel, Brian Certain, and we're kicking off New Year, New Sip series with a cocktail that proves healthy intentions and happy hour can coexist beautifully. This week's Cocktail of the Week is the Green Start Gimlet. This week's feature transforms the classic gimlet into a wellness-inspired masterpiece. By incorporating a house-made green juice syrup, we're elevating a traditional favorite with nutrients while maintaining its sophisticated spirit. But as always, don't worry about taking notes as I'm giving out the ingredients and instructions. They're always posted on bourbongospel.com. Ingredients: 2 ounces of a London dry gin. Something like Botanist or Hendrick's works wonderfully in this cocktail. 1 ounce of fresh lime juice, 3/4 of an ounce of a house-made green juice syrup, and an apple fan or fresh spinach leaf for garnish. For the green juice syrup, if you're making it at home versus cheating like I did and going to Central Market, you're going to take 2 cups of fresh spinach, 1 Granny Smith apple, 2-inch piece of fresh ginger, 2 cups of sugar, 2 cups of water. So let's start with our signature syrup. You're going to juice your spinach, apple, and ginger together, combine equal parts juice and sugar into a saucepan, heat and dissolve. Strain and bottle. This will keep refrigerated for about a week. Now the cocktail magic. Fill your shaker with fresh ice. Add the gin, the lime juice, and your vibrant green syrup. Shake vigorously for about 15 seconds. We want that perfect dilution. You're going to double strain into a chilled coupe glass and garnish with an apple fan or a fresh spinach leaf. Why is this the perfect for week 2 of January? By now, some of those strict resolutions might be feeling a bit overwhelming. The cocktail lets you maintain your wellness intentions while still enjoying life's pleasures. It's mindful mixology that proves healthy choices and happy hour aren't mutually exclusive. The flavor profile. Primary is going to be bright citrus botanical gin. Secondary is going to be the fresh apple and the spicy ginger. The finish should be clean, green with subtle earthy notes. But as always, I'm open to hear your take and input. You can reach me at brian@bourbongospel.com. And until next week, as Mark Twain said, too much of anything is bad, but too much whiskey is barely enough. Reporting for the About Mansfield podcast, I'm Brian Certain.
We're back in 60 seconds with Steve's in-studio interview with Texas Health Hospital's CEO, Eulanie Lashley.
Imagine a city where innovation knows no bounds, where dreams take flight, and the future unfolds before your very eyes. Welcome to Mansfield, a beacon of growth and a testament to vision. In the heart of Mansfield, a remarkable transformation is underway. But it's not just about the physical landscape. It's about the spirit that drives us forward. A spirit of collaboration that bridges cultures, a spirit of entrepreneurship that fuels prosperity, and a spirit of community that binds us as one. Mansfield is more than just a place. It's a canvas where diversity paints the picture of progress. From art festivals that ignite creativity to tech hubs that redefine boundaries, this city celebrates every voice, every passion. Mansfield, where growth knows no limits and the vision is limitless. Brought to you by the unstoppable spirit of the Mansfield Economic Development Corporation.
Hi, I'm Paula Giammo Morales, Tarrant County Jury Bailiff, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to another segment of About Mansfield. I'm Steve Casillo as we make the transition from news to talk. And in the studio today, she is the president and CEO of Texas Health Hospital Mansfield. You know the hospital. You've been up and down 287 right there at Lone Star Road, and you go, wow, that's a big building over there. Yeah, Texas Health Hospital Mansfield, right there at 287 and Lone Star Road. And let's just go and bring her on. Eulanie Lashley, welcome to About Mansfield.
Hello, hello. Thank you.
You don't have a Texas accent.
I do not.
No.
Maybe soon, though. It's only been 9 months. Give me some time.
Okay. You're getting settled in.
We are getting settled in. I'd say my daughter is doing the best y'all for all of us. So.
There's a there's a news anchor on TV. She's fairly new. She came from Philadelphia, and she's starting to throw in some y'all have a good night. That seems to be the one piece that when and I even mention it when at the close of my podcast. Thank y'all for listening. Y'all seems to be.
It's the one word we can all coalesce around. It's the one word that says Texas to everybody.
You ready for the holidays?
I am so ready. It's been a long year, and I am excited about just taking some time to spend with my husband and with the kids and really decompressing a little bit.
Tell me about Christmas in the Lashley household.
You know, this is the first Christmas in a really long time that we will not be on a beach in the islands. So that's a little bit of a transition for us this year. But my kids, they look forward to the Christmas season. They get to see a lot of their family at that time. And it always means a little bit of travel. So they're always excited. This year, they're like, where are we going? Where are we going? And having to tell them, well, we'll be here in Texas. And they were like, really? I was like, yes. So it's been a little bit of a transition.
So a Texas Christmas means longhorns and brisket and...
I'm going to learn that this year for sure. I will take all of your recommendations because we certainly will have a lot of time to test them all out.
You mentioned Christmas in the islands.
Yeah,
You're from the islands.
I am.
And tell the listeners where you were from originally.
I was born on the island of St. Vincent, and I lived there for about 9 years before my parents decided to move the family to Antigua. So between 9 and 2021, those are the years I spent in Antigua. So when I think about home, it's always a strange thing. When I think about going home to my family, I go to Antigua to go visit.
Let's talk about St. Vincent. St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Yes.
Why was there a move from the St. Vincent to Antigua? What was the climate, and I don't mean the weather climate, the political climate, the social climate like?
Yeah.
And
I mean, politically, things are relatively stable. I think what made a difference for my parents was just an opportunity to be able to provide something different for the kids. My parents were, at least at the time when I was growing up, they were people of very little means, but very strong ethic. And so my dad and my mom were always looking for ways to be able to make more to take care of their 7 children. Oftentimes when you have folks who have limited education, it creates limited opportunity. And because there were so many of us in terms of mouths to feed, they were always thinking about what was the next thing that they could do to make sure that we were taken care of and had more opportunity as well. So that really was what prompted the move for them to go from St. Vincent to Antigua. Like I said, 7 kids is no easy task.
Oh, yeah. And I was thinking about this earlier when I was doing some research. The move from St. Vincent to Antigua is about 270 miles in terms of the way the crow flies.
Yeah.
Which is basically from Mansfield to Galveston. So I think if I'm going to move to Galveston, I call the moving company. They load up the van and how do you move from one island to another?
And people, I'll tell you how we moved. We moved with very little. We took, honestly, as much as we could carry in a couple of suitcases. It's one of the reasons why we don't have a lot of family pictures from that era of our lives, because a lot of that stuff got lost in the transition. And my parents kind of got us all on a plane, and we... It was a hop, skip, and a jump, as they say, from one island to the other. So there are times when people do a bigger move and you pack the boxes and you fill the barrels and you put them on a boat and it goes, or you put them in boxes and get them on a plane. But we took what we could carry, and we moved from one place to the other. Now, my older siblings, my 5 older siblings are a lot older than me. So there's I always thought my little brother was the accident. I've come to realize that I was actually the accident, because my first 5 siblings are about a year apart. It's like every year my parents were having a child, and then there's like a 5-year break, a 5-year gap, and then there's me, and a 3-year gap, and then there's my little brother. So when we moved from Antigua to St. Vincent, 2 of my older siblings by that point were going off to college. I had a brother that stayed in St. Vincent to finish high school, and then the other 4 of us moved with my parents to Antigua.
So your family now is your extended family is now in Antigua.
I wish they're all over the place.
Oh, wow! Right.
So here's the rundown. Here's how it works. My parents are in Antigua with one of my older siblings. And one of my older brothers, him, his wife, his 2 kids, like they're in Antigua. Then I have a sister who went to college in Jamaica and met a boy, never left. So she and her husband live in Jamaica. I have a brother who migrated to Canada for school. I have a brother who went to Costa Rica to learn Spanish, met a girl, never came back. They live in Panama now. And I have a brother and his wife and daughter who live in Virginia. So we are literally all over the place.
Are
We
any
all
in
over
the
the
health
place.
profession like you?
My sister runs a lab in Jamaica, so she works in blood collection and testing and things like that, but she would be the only one. There's several others who think they're in healthcare, but no, nobody else but me.
How did you make the transition from Antigua to the United States?
To be honest, it's a little bit of a God story. When I graduated from high school, I did 2 years of college there, and in that sense, it gave me enough advanced education to be able to go back and become a teacher. And so I was a teacher for 2 years, and I was going to the same church the whole time, and I had quite a few people in the church, I think, that were looking at me and trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life, because they had known me for long enough to know that I was relatively smart. I got good grades. I stayed out of trouble. And I was at church, like with my parents religiously. And so there were quite a few folks who I think had their eye on me that I didn't realize were paying attention. And so one day, one of the church members came up to me and she was like, "Hey, what are you planning to do with your life?" I was like, "Well, I'm teaching now. I have this job and I think I'm going to do that until whenever." She's like, "You don't think you're going to go back to school to like get more education or whatnot?" And I was like, we can't afford it. My parents, like, we just didn't have the money. And so she was like, "Well, I think you have a lot of talent. I think you have a lot of, potential. So you're just going to stay here then?" And I was like, yeah, as said, see section A of this conversation where I noted that we don't have the money for me to go to school.
Right.
And she said, "Well, I think you just have too much potential to stay here." And she told me about a scholarship competition that was going to be running across the islands and in a lot of our churches, and they were going to take the top boy and the top girl and let them go head to head for a competition for a scholarship to a school in the States. And I said, "Oh, well, that's interesting information. That's great. I'm glad for whoever wins that." And she said, "Well, you just have to take like a math exam and an English exam, and then they'll pick the top boy and the top girl." And I was like, also very interesting. This is great information. I love that you're sharing. And she said, "Well, I already entered you into the competition." And I said, in my head, I was like, "You did what now? Like, What did you do?" She was like, "Yes, I entered your name. I took care of it. I paid whatever fees. Like, I think you need to go participate in this." And I was like, first of all, you didn't really ask me. So that's interesting. If you had asked me, I would have told you probably not. But also there's math involved in this whole thing, and math is not my favorite
That's
subject.
right. Wait, they didn't tell me there'd be math.
Exactly. And so, one of the things you learn in the islands is that you don't really spend a lot of time talking back to adults.
Okay.
You kind of say, "Yes, okay, I understand." And you can process whatever in your head, but at least when I was coming up, you don't let that come out of your mouth. So I simply told her, "Thank you. I will prepare." And honestly, I prepared as best as I could, not really expecting much. And then when the results came out, they came and they said, "Hey, you're the girl with the top score, and this is a boy with the top score. Now you guys get to go head to head." And we went head to head in an oratorical competition where I had to memorize like a lot of different things. And I was fortunate enough to best him in that process. And I won the scholarship to come to school here in the States.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And that led to an education where did you go in the States?
So I first flew into Logan International Airport, Boston, Massachusetts. I attended a small Christian school there for about 2 years, Atlantic Union College. I had a really great time there, tremendous education. After my sophomore year, I got the chance to transition to Andrews University, another small Christian school in Berrien Springs, Michigan, where I completed my degree in accounting in 2008. Wow.
Okay. What are some of the differences between living in the islands and living in the United States?
That is such a great question.
That's why I'm the host.
Yep. There are numerous differences. The food is different.
Yeah.
Honestly, the culture is a little bit different in the islands. Like, we have really strong work ethic. People work hard for what they want, but it's also a very different pace of life.
Are you saying that there's not a work ethic in the United States?
No, I would never say that. Oof. I would never say that. No, we have, I think sometimes the misconception about folks from the islands is that we're very slow, like everything happens very slowly, and that sometimes that can be confused for a lack of work ethic.
Gotcha.
So we're very hardworking, but we really prioritize community time and time together with each other and making sure that there's a good balance between that and
family's
work.
important.
Family is incredibly important, and having a good time is important, and going to the beach is important too. And certainly it just moves at a very different pace of life.
On Antigua, how long can you travel by car without running into an ocean?
Probably not very far. There are 365 beautiful beaches for you to choose from. Honestly, it's our claim to fame that we have one beach for every day of the year.
Yeah.
But you can get to a beach in 15, 20 minutes or less, depending on where you are on the island and what traffic looks like.
A friend of mine lived on Oahu, and he says, I had to come back to the mainland because you can only drive so far without hitting water. And he says, you become you realize that you're landlocked, and he says, I needed more land. More land.
Yeah, and I mean, like that was one of the most interesting things to me when I first got here. You know, like when you're in Antigua from the airport to where my parents were, I mean, like 20 minutes maybe tops, and that's with traffic. I remember getting here to Logan International, and they were like, "Oh, it's going to be like an hour before you." I'm like, "What do you mean an hour before we get to this school?" And so that's a significant. I mean, going from 108 square miles, like you can only go so far, like you said, to what is this beautiful country, the United States of America. It's just very different. So the food's different. The culture is a little bit different. Just the geography is very different. It's different. The way we talk is different. It's different.
We're going to get into food here in just a second. But for the listeners, if you can get a grasp on this, the boundaries for the Mansfield ISD is about 90 square miles. So, and you said Antigua is
108 square miles. That is really great context.
So if you can imagine not leaving the boundaries of Mansfield ISD, that's basically what you were.
That is it. That was my upbringing. That was my life.
Let's talk about food. You mentioned the food is a little different on the islands than in the States.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't have as much access, at least when I was growing up, to things. Here you have the option of eating, like you can go get Thai food, you can go get Mexican food, you can decide, hey, I feel like eating Chick-fil-A today. When I was growing up, a lot of those options were not available, so it's a lot of home-cooked food as much as possible. There were things that we ate that, you know, you can go to the local fish market, and the fishermen are coming in from the ocean, and there's your fish. There's where it is. You pick which ones you want, and you take it home and you cook it. Caught that day.
Yep.
So those things are. It's just you miss it sometimes. And there's certain things that yes, I could get back home that I can't always put my hands on here. Sometimes you have a taste for it. The upside to that is that you learn to make some of these things that you grew up with. My kids haven't appreciated them all, but
okay. Such as what are you making at home that's from home? From home.
Probably saltfish is the thing that I enjoyed most. So it's basically salted cod.
Okay.
So just imagine salt. It's very, very salty. So you spend a lot of time boiling it to get some of that salt out, and then you saute it with onions and pepper and garlic and all this, and you get a nice sauce, and you can eat it with a variety of things. Like you can eat it with plantains if you want. You can put avocado with it if you want. You can have, my favorite way to have it is with green bananas, and you take the skin off, you boil it, and you eat that together. Add some spinach. Like it's just, you can eat a lot more fresh from the ocean. There's nothing quite like it.
A Taste of the Islands from Eulanie Lashley. There you go. Going from St. Vincent to Antigua to the United States, those are three different countries, are they not?
Yep.
You had to go from St. Vincent to Antigua. You become now a citizen of another country?
Yes, in theory. So when I left Antigua, and this is I almost feel like I should low-key apologize to all my Antiguan friends and also my Vincentian friends. I have a Vincentian passport. I never got an Antiguan passport, never became a citizen of Antigua, even though you ask me, it's like it's home. Like, my family has been there now long enough where they all are citizens of Antigua, but I never became a citizen of Antigua. I'm a proud American now.
Thank you.
I was very, very excited to be able to go through that process. I learned a lot about the history of the country. I remember when I was studying to be able to take the exam, the test that you have to pass to become a citizen, it became a process for my entire office, all of whom were American. They were like, oh, they're asking you that? And they would start stopping into my office to quiz me to make sure I knew the answers to the question. But yeah, it has been certainly a privilege to be able to make that transition as well.
Welcome to America.
Thank you.
What would be a typical question that would come up on the citizenship?
Oh, they would ask you who were the major signatories to the Declaration of Independence? Please don't ask me the answer. Yeah, well, I did at one point. I did. They ask you when were the Federalist Papers?
I don't know.
They published? Yes, you learn a lot. I was glad that they give you 10 questions. You got to get 6 right. I think I got my first 6 right, and I was like, okay, good. Perfect.
All right,
no
done.
More.
Things like the words to the Star-Spangled Banner or the...
I don't remember the words to the Star-Spangled Banner when I took it. It was more like, name 6 of the first 13 original colonies and things like that.
I don't know.
Listen, you learn though. You learn.
Yes, that's true. That's true. You went from Boston to Michigan.
Yeah.
We're back on your educational track now.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you go after Michigan?
After Michigan, I was fortunate enough. I got married a week after I graduated from college, and at that time, I told my husband, we had been talking about it the whole time we were engaged, like, hey, where do we want to live? And I was like, yeah, the snow, I don't think the snow and cold are necessarily the way I would choose to live my life forever. So how about Florida? Florida looks good. It's warm. It's in relatively close proximity to the islands.
Yeah.
For ease of travel, things like that. I might be able to get my hands on some of the foods that I'd love to have every once in a while. And he was like, yeah, Florida looks good. So we decided on Florida, and we moved 2 weeks after we got married, moved to Florida.
How did the move to Florida transition to healthcare?
I actually was fortunate enough to start learning about Adventist health systems, which is Advent Health now, a faith-based healthcare provider, now the largest Protestant faith healthcare provider in the United States. I was privileged to learn about the organization in my sophomore year of college. And one of the things that really drew me to the organization was that its mission was to extend the healing ministry of Christ, right?
Right.
Growing up the way that I did and with the parents that I had, like, faith was just it was the most important thing in our family. And I think, that sometimes is born out of understanding that you have to rely on a higher power sometimes as you navigate some of these situations. So it was incredibly important to me. And even at my age, when I was processing some of this stuff, like understanding that Jesus spent a lot of his time taking care of the needs of the people, the physical needs of the people that he was with before he did anything else, that really meant something to me. And that's where I saw his character most immediately demonstrated as my faith was forming. And so to find out about an organization whose entire mission and existence was to extend his healing ministry into the communities that they got to serve was immediately attractive. It felt like it aligned very closely with my values as a person and kind of the way I wanted to live my life. So the more I learned, I was like, man, I would love to be able to work for that organization one day. So after getting introduced to them in my sophomore year, I applied for an internship. And I did not get it that summer.
Oh.
I know.
Okay.
I was very sad. It was very devastating because I was like, surely they would see my good grades. They would understand, like, this is a place that I'm interested in serving. But I was not fortunate that sophomore year. The following year, as I became a junior and transitioned over to Andrews University, I applied again for an internship. And as luck would have it, I did not get it.
Wow.
I did not get it. Again. I know. Shocker. I was like, man, I'm a junior now. My grades are still really good. I can't believe I didn't get it. And about 2 weeks before the internships were scheduled to start, I got a call from a strange number. And I answered, and the lady said, Eulanie, this is Corey Grodak. I'm calling from the accounting office down at Florida Hospital, which is what the Florida hospitals were called at the time, later Advent Health. She said somebody dropped out of the internship for the summer and your name was the next one on the list. Like, are you interested? And I was like, I have been interested. I'm absolutely interested. She said, do you have a car? And I said, no, I don't have a car. She was like, well, you might need one for your internship. I was like, it's okay. I'll figure it out. Like, I will take the internship. I got it. And so that was my introduction. I spent that summer, I think my first day I walked a couple of miles from the apartment that they had me staying to get to the office. Mm-hmm. But it's even in the internship, I found that there were great people because they really took me in. And once they found out I had no car, they were like, girl, we will pick you up in the morning. We will take you home. Let us know when you need to go to the grocery store. We'll make sure that you have what you need. So that was my first foray into Advent Health as a summer finance intern.
That's very cool. They took care of you.
They did take care of me.
So you literally you went from intern to CEO.
I went from intern to CEO.
Let's talk about that because you obviously did not go from intern to CEO.
Yeah. Doesn't quite work.
No. It's like, we really like that intern over there. She should be president. How long was your internship and what came after that?
My internship was about 3 months. I spent it in Shawnee Mission, Kansas, at one of our facilities. And at the end of the summer, I went back to school in Michigan to finish up the last year of my degree. I was studying accounting at the time. And so in February of 2008, I got a call from the gentleman who was running the finance department at the flagship facility there in Florida. And he said, hey, I saw your resume. I really would like to get to know you a little bit better. Can you come down and interview? Did that, was successful. I started work on September 8th of 2008, was my first day as a financial analyst. So really spent a lot of time just learning the business. I thought that what I was going to be doing was going to be a lot closer to accounting.
Yeah.
It was not. It was very different. I always joke I have an accounting degree and I've never done a day of accounting in my life. So started as a financial analyst and really just took the opportunity to learn as much as I could from the people I was working with. And really, for me, one of the things that has always been a differentiator is just figuring out how to treat people the way that I would want to be treated, but really try to understand who they are and treat them the way that works best for them.
We're talking with Texas Health Hospital's CEO, Eulanie Lashley, and we will pick up part 2 next week. In the meantime, this is the place where you will hear the latest Mansfield news, talk, and information. Until then, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, share, love, connect, amplify, elevate, celebrate, embrace, explore, just support the podcast if you haven't already. By the way, we are looking for sponsors. Help us out. For our weekly newsletter, it's free and it's easy. Just enter your email address on our website, aboutmansfield.com. It's right there on the homepage. We will never send you any spam. We promise.
About Mansfield is recorded at Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio. Hosts Steve Casillo and Colleen Daniel. Moment with the Mayor feature, Michael Evans. Methodist Mansfield News to Know, Angel Biasatti. Mansfield Real Estate Market Update, Angela Hornburg. Cultural Arts Calendar, Tim Roberts. Cocktail of the Week, Brian Certain. Post-production editing, mixing, and mastering, Steve Casillo and Andrew Miner.
This podcast is copyrighted by Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio. Is intended for the private use of our audience. Any use of this podcast without written consent is strictly prohibited. We thank you all for listening. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Steve Casillo, and this is About Mansfield.